Jeff Castine, the Manic Mechanics, is swinging a leg over this monster. I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. We really need this guy. Holy shit. That thing's freaking nasty. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm a little scared. That thing's straight up street racing, grudge racing. Rip your house off the foundation fast. Keep it running, ride it in. We want to film you riding in. Take it to the drag strip. Straight up nasty. It's way faster than my Hayabusa was. What's up, fellas? Check out this long, lean, mean machine. This thing is, well, it terrorized the streets and grudge match racing scene down in Gilbert Patterson's hometown in Maryland. He said this bike dominated the street racing scene for a while, and he fell in love with it, had to have it, and bought it off the owner, and he used it pretty much as a museum piece. It was on display in his living room for, I don't know, probably over the last 10, 15 years. Anyways, it's absolutely badass. When I came over his house, I saw it. He had a tag hanging off of it right here that said 200 horsepower, 1,340 cc's, and the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I was like, I gotta ride this thing, man. And let me tell you something. This thing is an ear-splitting, shrieking, hounds of hell machine. It's just straight up nasty. Jeff Castine just took it for a rip down the street. When hearing someone else ride it, you can it's just an incredible machine. Let's start with the fact that the 1150E motor has been probably the #1 drag race platform for decades, and still to this day is relevant on the drag race scene. The frame on this thing, the extended swing arm, the front end, everything's been modified on this thing that you can see. The front end's been lowered, the rear end's been lowered. It's got I think those are Performance Machine racing wheels. I'm not positive, but there's a lightweight set of aluminum racing wheels on it. It's got let's talk about the motor for a second. Gilbert had given me a quick rundown, and it was confirmed by our drag race tech here, Jimmy Laurinaitis. This is a set of 36 millimeter Mikuni smoothbore carburetors, probably well over $1,000 just for the carb set. It's got a 1340 cc big bore, low compression cylinder and piston kit for it, which gives you a lot more horsepower, a lot more displacement, a lot more torque, and with the low compression, the 10 1/4 to 1 compression, you can actually run this thing on pump gas. It runs better on race gas. We got VP in it, but you can run it on pump gas, and that's also the hot setup if you want to put a nitrous bottle on it, which would, who knows what it would be putting down with a nitrous bottle. My seat of the pants dyno tells me this thing's somewhere between 130 and 150 horsepower. It sounds like it's 200 horsepower, but I don't have a dyno to confirm it, so I can't promise you it's 200 horse. That's what Gilbert told me when I bought it from him, but I don't know. He might have exaggerated. This bike has the, and while we're off camera, Ronnie laid another coat with the Carnauba paste wax on there, so let me do a little, voila, angel singing. Long, low, mean, and lean. Look at that thing. Absolutely beautiful. Several coats of Carnauba paste wax on it now. But seriously, one of the neighbors, it was 10 a.m., and we did a couple hole shots in the driveway, which is perfectly legal, and it's got a dealer plate on it. It's street legal. And we took it out in the street, didn't go over the speed limit, never got out of second gear. Jeff took it for a rip up the street. And but this thing sounds so... Listen, we've had thousands of motorcycles here, okay? This is the first one anybody's ever called the cops on us about. It just sounds like the hounds of hell, even when you're at an idle, at a stoplight. And it looks like you're doing 100 parked. It's definitely badass. If you're looking for something to sneak around on, don't buy this bike. If you want to turn heads everywhere you go and be remembered, buy this bike. The paint job, as far as I can tell, is the original factory Suzuki, red and black. It's absolutely stunning, period correct paint job. Again, this is the bike drag racers chose for many, many decades and still is relevant today. The frame is absolutely gorgeous condition. The swing arm's beautiful. It's got the polished aluminum mags. I already went over the specs on the motor. 1340 big bore, low compression, 36 millimeter smooth boards, Vance and Hines drag racing pipe. It has heads off a GS1150. I'm not sure if I got into that. I'm not sure why Gilbert's guy put those on there, but in any event, this thing will make your hair stand straight up. It hauls ass. And even though it's long, lowered, and stretched, it still wants to wheelie. There's so much horsepower. We haven't dynoed it. They said 200, could be 130, could be 150. I don't know. It's more than most mere mortals need. I can tell you that much. Just a beautiful piece. The original factory gauges are showing only 20,700 miles on it. The original factory seat is intact. The original shifter and everything is there. It has a spot for passenger pegs. If you want to ride your girl on the back, you can put some pegs on this thing. Now, check this out. One of the cool things they did is rather than lower it and make it only good for track riding, take a look around on this side right here. They put a they put a strap, like a tie-down strap, with 2 bolts holding it on. So if you want to ride this on the street and go for an all-day ride on this bike, all you got to do is take these 2 bolts out, and then it'll spring back to the normal fork height, okay? If that makes any sense. If you have any questions about that, call us. But that's set up so that for drag racing now, and if you want to have it more clearance for the street, that's all you got to do. Has a nice set of grips on it. I do have one other thing I wanted to point out, which probably doesn't even need to be pointed out, but look at the headlight on this thing. It's huge by today's standards. Looks like a freight train headlight with no fairing. Just a really cool classic bike, and it's fast as hell. I've got a work order here showing $4,100 that we've invested into the bike in parts and labor since we got it. It went to their detail shop. It was hot water, steam cleaned, pressure wash, steam cleaned, hand wash, degreased. They painted the cylinder and the head, touched up the frame, the hand controls, the foot pegs, etc. Polished all the aluminum on the wheels and the exhaust. The exhaust looks like it's ceramic coated. Buffed and polished the tank and outer tins. It's got several coats of Canuber wax. 6 hours in the detail shop, so it's as good as it's going to get cosmetically. The service department, Jimmy, who is our resident drag racing expert, put 25 hours of labor into the bike, and I've got an extensive parts list here. I'll go over the parts parts list after I tell you what he did. First of all, he cleaned the gas tank out, stripped the bike right down to the frame, took the tank, side covers, seat, everything off of it, and pulled the rack of Mikuni carbs off of there. Fully serviced their Mikuni 36 millimeter flat side carbs. Put new O-rings and seats, new mixture screw O-rings, new fuel lines, new fuel filters, new 130 main jets. He installed the new Pingle petcock and adapter and fuel line. Had to modify the tank to fit the Pingle valve. Installed a brand new battery in it. Installed battery tender lead so you can leave it plugged in for springtime to be good. And then put VP 110 non-ethanol race fuel in there so it smells absolutely amazing and it sounds and runs great with that fuel, although it will run on pump gas. We run the VP primarily for the ethanol-free content. We don't like what ethanol does to carbs, so suggest you do the same. Put new hand grips on it. Flushed and lubed the throttle cable, lubed the throttle and tube assembly. He rebuilt the front master cylinder, flushed and bled the front brake system, replaced the front tire. It's got a brand new set of Pirelli Angel tires on it. Removed the rear brake system, rebuilt the rear master cylinder, flushed and bled the rear brake system, removed the rear wheel, cleaned and greased the rear axle, replaced the rear tire. The engine oil was serviced with Bellray and replaced the Bellray MC4 engine oil. A new high-flow Filtro fuel oil filter. Removed the engine oil pan and cleaned that, put new gaskets on, put a new drain plug in it, and reinstalled it. Remove and replace the clutch with a brand new heavy-duty Barnett clutch, racing clutch with fibers, steels, and springs. And let me tell you something, this thing hooks up like crazy. It's freezing cold out. This new Pirelli Angel tire on it hooks up like crazy. It was actually trying to wheelie on me. The front end was coming up in first gear in the driveway here with half throttle. It just hooks up like crazy. Excellent tire. Real Kyle chose a tire. I couldn't ask for a better tire for the street. Let's see. That's about it. Parts list, new spark plugs, new front master cylinder rebuild kit, new rear master cylinder rebuild kit. He put new foot pegs on it, new Superbike grips, Pirelli Angel GT front tire, Pirelli Angel GT rear tire, a new oil filter, new oil pan gasket, new drain plug, new Barnett clutch fibers, clutch steel disc brakes, clutch discs, new Barnett steel clutch discs, new battery tender lead, VP110 fuel, a Pingle fuel cock, and a Pingle mounting plate. That pretty much sums up everything that we did to it. Obviously, Gilbert and the previous owner did the 1340 big bore kit, the smooth bores, the exhaust, and everything else. Just a cool classic that stood the test of time. It's still cool. It's still badass. 36 years in, and I guess it's only going to get better with age. Junior, anything you want to add? You've seen a lot of bikes come and go. You've heard a lot of bikes come and go. Well, what are your thoughts about this badass ride?
We're pretty jaded here at the museum, and this week I was literally just thinking we've got some sick bikes on the auction block between this and some of the CB750s, the FXR, custom build by Timmy Slater. Just some really top-notch bikes coming down. So good luck bidding, guys.
You know, when Junior says we're jaded, we see lots of bikes come through here. About 100 to 150 bikes a month are sold here through Kaplan Cycles at the museum. We have events where literally 2,000 bikes will show up. We go to Daytona, we go to Laconia, we go to Americade, we've been to Sturgis, we go to a lot of the big rallies, vintage and new bike rallies. We go to the International Motorcycle Show. We go to all the motorcycle events. I just spent 36 days. I drove 7,000 miles and went to at least 80 motorcycle dealerships. Not one of them, not one, had a GS1150 in stock. Not even a stock one. And sure as hell, nobody had a GS1150 drag bike. The only place I went to that had drag bikes like this was Tony Johnson, the professional drag racer's house. You saw that video, but none of his bikes look like this. They don't look stock. You can't even tell what brand his bikes are. This one is a cool retro drag bike. I'm sure Tony would approve. I'm looking forward to getting his comments on this. And if the bike doesn't sell, we just put $4,100 into the bike in parts and labor, plus the cost of the bike. So it's not going to be, we can't give it away, but it's worth every penny it sells for. And if it doesn't sell, we're taking this thing to the drag strip here, Epping Motor Speedway, and see what she'll do in the quarter. Really looking forward to it. So if you want it, buy it before we get a chance to burn up that new rear tire. Just did a couple small burnouts out front. Show them the tread on the tire, Kenny. It's still brand new. That was the first time the tire hit the road.